And again, just to confirm the website, I just went online here. It's no one left, all in one word, .org. And there's a lot that you can do there. And again, according to your conscience and according to your principles and so on. I'm just bringing to the fore a humanitarian crisis that needs visibility. And we would love for our viewers to get educated on that and do all they can to help mitigate this situation. And thank you, Kevin, very much for allowing me this outlet so we could discuss this.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
end on this. Yeah,
absolutely. Anytime. It was very interesting today. I learned a lot.
likewise.
Yeah, it's just I had a friend that told me, one of the most powerful and interesting people he's ever spoken to was an interpreter. Just the way they think about language, the way they can break it down, their understanding in their education, their experiences. Just a fascinating person to talk to. So when this came my way, it was a no-brainer for us. I want to turn this now to the audience, Ewandro, and if you're willing to take one of their questions. We did have one fly in. So if you're listening to this still on live or on LinkedIn, come on over to Crowdcast and ask your questions to Ewandro. The first one, Ewandro, comes from Christiana, and she asks, Ewandro, I'm noticing that with applying for jobs in social impact, they're asking what languages I speak. I only speak English, but feel it would be valuable to learn a language or languages working in a global field. What languages would you recommend learning, and how would you recommend learning them best?
Interesting question. Thank you very much. What's the name of the person again? I'm sorry.
Christiana.
Christiana, thank you very much for tuning in, and thank you to all the other colleagues. And now I'm now sensitized to the chat, and I see Barry here, my good friend at Kudo. I see Luciana Fiaio, who tells me here that we go back a long way, right? Mm-hmm. So very nice to have you all here. Again, the choice of languages, right? Language, I tell my kids, for example, who are totally bilingual, that in their generation, not speaking English, if you're, say, in Brazil, is a form of illiteracy, right? So English, for example, is a must. But for those who already speak English, if you're looking for a different language, then you have to ask yourself, what are you trying to accomplish, right? For example, I, for many years, kind of got lazy on learning French because where I was, French was not important. The minute I stepped out of Brazil, and particularly in Europe, doing what I was doing, French became absolutely important. So it depends on where you see yourself ending up and the kind of surroundings even that you have when you look around. So if you're in the United States, Spanish is the most obvious choice because of the number of people that you can interact with. But if you have roots in Lebanon, if you have roots in China and so on, you may want to go with a different language. Now, take the easy route. Every language you learn is, first language you learn is difficult. Second language you learn becomes easier and easier and easier because there's always elements of one language into the others.
Right.
So go with the low-hanging fruit first, right? So if I'm Portuguese or Brazilian and I speak Portuguese, I don't want to go straight to Serbian, right? I may get there, but I want to go to Spanish, which is just, close by, and then Italian and then French, right? I tried learning German and I took 6 years of German classes. I have 3 certificates of German. I worked for Lufthansa for 2 years, only speaking German. I took a master's degree in Europe, in half of it in German, and I was very proud of my German. But it was so much effort to learn that language because it has nothing to do with Portuguese. So I went 10 years without being in contact with Germans, and I forgot pretty much everything. So it's a hard thing to keep. So go with the languages that make more sense to you, and again, the things that will end up being useful for you in the future, right? And please resist the temptation to think that the more languages you speak, the better off you're going to be. That's not true. Just go with the languages that make sense to you. This is particularly true, guys, for linguists, interpreters, who think that by speaking 10 different languages, they have a better chance of landing a job with the UN. That's not true, right? Depending even on your mother tongue, all you may need to add is very specific languages. If you're, looking at becoming an interpreter for the UN and your language is English, you don't want to learn Chinese or Arabic. All you need to add is French and Spanish, or Russian and Spanish, in addition to French, and that's it.
Ewandro, best language, follow-up question here. Best language for business owners to learn. Is it Spanish? Is it Chinese? Japanese? German?
Assuming they already speak English?
English. If you are speaking English, yes.
Assuming they already speak English. Again, it depends on where you are.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're in the US, Spanish is a no-brainer. If you're in Europe, then French might be a lot more useful. It depends on where you are, basically.
Okay.
Right? And again, how do I learn languages? What do I suggest as far as learning languages? I love a course, and this is free advertisement for them, guys. I'm not getting a penny. I love a system called Pimsleur, Pimsleur, Pimsleur. If you go online, pimsleur.com, I guess it is, you'll find pretty much any language. The beauty of it is that it's all on audio, and it's 30 minutes a day. So you can listen to it and go walk your dog, and you repeat a few things to yourself. People are going to think you're crazy because you're talking to yourself, but it's an easy way to grasp at least the beginnings of a language, right? The basic structures and so on. And from there, you can go forward. This is how I cut my French courses when I went to Geneva by half, just by doing 90 days of this little training. I cut like 2.5 years of former schooling that I otherwise would have had to sit through. So free advertisement, guys.
I love it. I have Pimsleur. I got to get back on it, though. It's hard to keep up with the language. Ewandro, appreciate you coming on. Any last words or where people can find more information about Kudo?
I guess it was Victor Hugo who said that final words are for people who haven't said enough. I feel I have exhausted your patience by talking too much. So my only last word is thank you very much.
Absolutely. Well, wonderful. And thank you, good people, for hanging on to this episode of the Real Leaders Podcast. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. If you had to go at any point in this conversation, or if you want to listen to this again, make sure to subscribe to the Real Leaders Podcast. That's on Apple Podcasts. Just go to the search bar, search the podcast. And also, folks, if you could just leave us a review on that channel, it'd mean the world to us. It helps us with our ratings, helps people like Ewandro get noticed. So if you do that for us, we'd appreciate it. With that being said, that's it from me. Thanks for being a real leader. And always, folks, keep it real. Thanks, Ewandro.